Good morning. Good morning, ladies. This is Winnie Chitaka, empowering Ugandan women for the Uganda Youth Collective. Welcome to today, 7th of November, Tuesday. And today is slightly different because I am doing this on the move. So if you hear noises in the background, that's because Winnie is on the move as she records. The joys of technology. I can do this on the move. Ladies, I welcome you, and gentlemen, if you're listening to us, to this morning's recording. Yesterday we were discussing under a topic, and I asked you a question, and that question was, what do you believe? But today I want to ask the question, many of you listed many of the things you believe. Now I want to ask the question, how do you make what you believe a reality? How do you begin to see the things you believe come into reality? Or how do you see them? How do you begin to live what you believe? That's what we're going to talk about today. Let me first say massive thank you to every single one of us in a group that has welcomed all the new ladies that joined us yesterday. As I said, Monday is our day to welcome new members to the Empowering Ugandan Women group, and welcome to all of you that joined the group yesterday. I want to say a massive thank you to all of you that are active, that are contributing, that are sharing your mind, that are helping, that are giving ideas and opinions, that are helping others. Thank you so much. And also yesterday, as you saw, we had, if you're somebody that is within the group and listens to our audios, yesterday we had a conversation, and for the first time in a family, a conversation where many of us, as I said, there's a saying that sometimes in a family or in a relationship, you agree to disagree. And as I said to you, that in relationships, in families, there will be times when a point or an issue will be raised when not everyone is going to agree with that point or that point of view. However, that does not become grounds for division. It's natural, it's normal. This is what happens, and actually this almost solidifies us as a family. We're officially a family. We had our first disagreement, which is amazing. And so I want to encourage you that regardless of that disagreement, or regardless of the difference of an opinion, it will be very naive of me to think of a group of almost 120 plus women that everybody is going to agree with everyone's opinion. So yesterday was a very good example of what may happen, but I am so encouraged that together we are still standing, and together we are going to make it, and we're going to get to where we want to be. So today the question is this. Many of you said you believe in yourself. Somebody said you believe you're going to become a billionaire. Somebody said you believe you want to go to a different country, a country of your choice. You believe in, somebody said you're working with a charity and you believe to be able to help 50% of the children within your community. Somebody said, I believe to build myself my dream house. Many of the things you said you believed were good things, things that you hope to see in the future. Many said you believe to see a good change in our country. Many of the things that you outlined that you believe. So now the question I ask is this: how do the things that we believe, how do they become a reality? How do they come from your head or from your heart that you begin to see them? In Luganda, I would say, how do you see it? How does your dream, how does your belief become a reality? This is what I want to discuss today. Many times I remember, let me start off this way. One of my favorite scriptures is this. It's written and it says this, that faith without action is dead. That it's one thing to say you believe, but it's another thing if your actions do not match what you're saying you believe. Let me repeat that. Many of us say we believe, I believe that one day I'm going to become the Prime Minister. I believe that one day I'm going to become a leader. I believe that one day I'm going to get married. I believe that one day I'm going to have children. I believe that I'm going to build my dream house. But then when you back it up and you look in your reality right now, that the actions you're taking right now, the lifestyle that you're living right now, is not one that shows that you actually believe what you're saying. Let me give you an example. For example, you say, Winnie, I believe I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to be a president. I'm going to be any leader in any position. But right now, the lifestyle you're living, you're somebody that drinks and drinks and drinks like there's no tomorrow. I mean, drinking alcohol. You're somebody that smokes and smokes cigarettes. You're somebody that indulges or gets involved in a lot of sexual perversity. If you're a female, you're somebody that is, let's just say, getting around. That goes for men too. But remember, you said you believe that one day you're going to become a leader. As we speak, as I was recording, a phone call came through, and hence the little pause that you may have heard in the recording. You believe you're going to become a leader, but right now your lifestyle, what you're doing, does not show that you actually believe. You're going to become a leader, and right now you're in school, but you're the one person that does not pay attention to anything. You don't read, you don't do your homework. Nothing in what you're doing now or today is showing that you believe. Why do I say this? Because if you're aware as a leader, one of the things, say for example, you're going to become, I don't know, a political leader, for example. One of the things that politicians would do is they will run campaigns and put forth manifestos to tell people why they should vote for them. And we know that many times that when your opposition wants to get ahead of you, they will look into your past and they will dig out issues or cases that may look to destroy your credibility. For example, if right now, as I said, you believe, Winnie, I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to be the president's wife one day. I'm going to be the first lady one day. I'm going to be whatever kind of leader you want to be. But right now, as I speak, you have more than 5 boyfriends on the go. And if you're a male, you have more than 5 girlfriends. You change them every day. And so here comes your opposition leader or your competitor, and they take out this information in the future when you're ready to become a leader. And sometimes that information, the things that you're doing now, you that believes that one day you'll be a leader, can actually serve against you. And so this is why I asked the question, what will it take for the things you believe to become a reality? What should your lifestyle look like now if you truly believe what you're saying? A lot of people, it's one thing to speak and say, I believe. But a lot of people, it's just talk. When they truly don't believe, when they truly are not convinced. For example, ladies and gentlemen, when a woman is pregnant and she believes that come 9 months down the line, I would deliver a child or give birth to a child, that woman, everything that she does from the point of conception, because of the baby she is carrying, her lifestyle, the things, or the pregnancy or the baby begins to dictate how she will live her life. The pregnancy dictates what she eats and does not eat. It may also dictate what she's doing. For example, if maybe she's working in an environment that may be toxic and may cause harm to the child, to the unborn child. She will remove herself from such a situation. If she's been somebody that drinks or smokes, she will seek ways to stop that habit because she does not want to cause harm to the unborn child that she believes that at the end of 9 months, she will deliver. And in addition to taking care of herself physically, she will begin to prepare for this unborn child. She starts to look at, where's the child going to stay? Some people, if they're in a position that they can, they'll start to look for a bigger place to live. Where's the child going to sleep? They'll go window shopping and look at cots, baby cots, or Moses baskets. They will begin to look at the clothes that the child is going to wear. They begin to prepare, what's the child going to eat? What are they going to drink? Am I going to breastfeed them? Because they are expecting, because they believe that in 9 months, I will give birth to a baby. They begin to say no to some appointments. The closer they get to the 9 months, they begin to turn down some appointments because they want to make sure that the child they're carrying is not affected by some of the actions that they may take. They believe. And because they believe, they do or they act according to what they believe. So in the same way, my sister that is listening to me this morning, if you believe that one day you want to build a house, one day you want to run your own company, one day the change you want is going to happen. The question is, what are you doing right now, like the pregnant woman, that demonstrates or that exhibits or that shows that you really believe? Maybe you're at the stage that, okay, I'm beginning to believe, but I'm not quite there yet. And for some of us, we're going to work that belief becomes a passion. It becomes a drive. And sometimes what you believe is attached to what it is that you're supposed to do. Your purpose, your why. And so for some of us, we probably still need to work on that. But for those of you that are already there and you're convinced that I believe this is what's going to happen, then I ask you, what are you doing right now to prepare for that change that you're expecting? What are you doing right now to prepare for that husband or that wife that you believe one day you're going to have? What are you doing right now to prepare for those children, men and women, that you believe one day I'm going to have 5, 6, or however many you want to have? What are you doing right now if you believe that one day Uganda is going to be a place where people will have jobs to live, will have employment? If you believe that one day our children, our sisters and brothers will not need to go and migrate and move to distant nations in order to make a living. If you believe that, what is it that you're doing right now that shows or that proves that that's what you believe? Let me use myself as an example. Many of you know the reason why I am doing this, because I believe that Ugandans can. I believe that you that is listening to me right now, you can do and achieve anything that you set your mind to do. I believe that Ugandans can, and because I believe that Ugandans can, almost a year ago now, I started to put in action what I believe. I started the Uganda Youth Collective. I started to write the book, which will be out before the end of this year, Ugandan and Proud. I started to create platforms that will begin to show my Ugandan brothers and sisters that we can. I changed what I say. Many times when you will say things, when you mention our country, Uganda, people will say there's no hope. You will hear such statements like Ugandans don't want to help one another. You will hear such statements that Ugandans pull each other down. But because I believe, and I believed that Ugandans can, I stopped making such statements about Uganda and Ugandans. Why? Because I believe. And because I believe, I have changed my vocabulary. I have changed what I say to Ugandans or to a Ugandan. Many of you have been witnesses, and you have said to me that, Winnie, since we've started listening to you, we believe we could do this. You've changed our thinking. Why? Because I am saying I believe, and I am putting it in practice by telling you that you can. That regardless of your occupation right now, regardless of where you are right now, I tell you that you can, and I treat you accordingly. What have I done as Winnie to put in action what I believe? Because I believe that Ugandans can, I'm creating platforms to be able to show that Ugandans can. I am reaching out to Ugandans who are doing amazing things. When I see a Ugandan who is doing something, reaching out to them and offering help, offering a hand, and doing something as small as sending a message or a text message or a WhatsApp message or on Facebook, or commenting or liking or saying well done or saying yes you can, to responding to someone's post, because I believe. And because I believe in my brothers and sisters, that I believe that Ugandans can, whether in Uganda or outside of Uganda. So I start to do teachings like this one. I start to share with you like this, in preparation for what I believe that one day we will have. Our children will hope. Our children will begin to see their dreams come to reality in Uganda. So I ask you the question, if you believe, what are you doing right now that shows that you believe? Here's another example. If you're somebody that believes that one day I'm going to build a house, I'm going to build my dream house. Or let me put it this way. Or maybe you might be asking, Winnie, we understand what you're saying, but Winnie, how do we do it? How do I make, or what I believe? What can I do now? What action should I be taking right now to demonstrate that I believe? Winnie, how do I do it? Here's how you do it. And I'm going to use the example of somebody believing that they're going to build the biggest house in Uganda, for example, one day. If that's what you believe, that you're going to be the owner of one of the biggest homes and most luxurious homes in Uganda one day, what should you do right now if you truly believe that? I always say this, that you take a picture of what it is that you believe. In this case, find an image or a photograph of the kind of house that you're talking about or you're dreaming about. Number one, find the picture or the photograph of the kind of house that you believe that one day you're going to own or you're going to have. If you're not in a position to acquire a photograph or a picture or a video, then at least just draw something, just anything, draw something that signifies the house that you believe that one day you're going to have. It could be a business, it could be a husband, it could be a wife, it could be whatever it is. Find a picture of it, find a photo of it. Before I bought the car that I'm driving right now, I had a picture of the car that I wanted to drive. And I put this picture on my fridge, and every single day I will look at it. And my children will ask me, "Mommy, what's that?" And I will say to them, "That's the car that Mommy is going to buy." But at the time, my income could not afford to have the car. The car I have right now is a GL Mercedes Benz. But I had the picture because I believed that one day I would drive that car. And before I drove my Mercedes Benz, I used to drive a Nissan Micra, one of the oldest cars. I used to love my little red Nissan Micra. It was so old, it was ridiculous. But I came from a Nissan Micra to a GL Mercedes because I believed. And step number one, I got the picture and the image of the car I wanted to drive, just like I'm asking you to do today. And I put it somewhere where I can see it every single day. Number two, I then found out that for me to have that car, what does it cost? What is the cost of owning a GL Mercedes Benz? Number two, I found out what does it cost? What does it take? What are the prices? What will it take to maintain having a car like I wanted? In the same example of the house, you've got the picture now. Number two, begin to research. Begin to find out. You can find out how. Look on the internet. Look on YouTube. Look on social media. Read a book. Find out that image, that picture, that thing that you believe. It could be the change in leadership or in Uganda. Whatever that thing is, begin to find out. What does it take to have that thing? What does it cost to have that thing? What does it take or cost to maintain the house that you're looking for or you believe you're going to have? And all this, not inside your head. You write it down. You get yourself a notepad and the book. And in the front of the book or the cover of the book, you have the picture of the thing you want to have. And then you begin to find out, do some homework, do some research. Write down the costs. Write down, find out, how do you do it? How is it made? Where do you go to buy that thing? Where do you find it? Find all this information. These are the actions taken by somebody who believes. Hence why I said in the beginning, the faith without action is dead. If you just say you believe but you take no actions, that belief is dead. That faith is dead. The kind of faith or the kind of belief that is alive is one where you start to do. Now you're probably thinking, but Winnie, when I look at myself right now, as a matter of fact, I have zero as balance on my bank account. As a matter of fact, I don't even have a bank account. Winnie, I don't even have a job. Winnie, I am not educated. Winnie, I am the least in my family. Winnie, I am working as a maid. There's no hope. When you have a belief, when you believe something, where you are right now has got nothing to do with what you believe. What I mean, let me rephrase that. That your current circumstance does not have to dictate what you do or don't do. So it doesn't matter where you are right now. This is your vision. This is your goal. This is what you believe. And people will look at you and think you're crazy. Have you never met those people? And they have their dream and they have it written down. And when you look at them, when I had the dream of buying my Mercedes Benz, when people saw the car I was driving, the Nissan Micra I was driving, and it was old. When you looked at me and you compared me to the dream that I have, it didn't make sense. It seemed impossible. And so don't worry about that now. Don't worry what people will say. Don't worry people what your mother will say. Sometimes you will share your dream with people and people will tell you you're crazy. For some of you that are migrating and moving to the diaspora, when you come to the diaspora and you tell your friends, you know, I am looking to work as a manager, as a director, people will say to you, don't be silly. Go and find yourself a cleaning job. Because people will look at your current situation right now and they'll begin to estimate or tell you where you can and cannot go. But an individual that believes, pays no attention to what people say or think or their current situation. So number 2, you find out, what does it cost? What does it take? And you write all this down. In the example of a house, once you've written down and you found out how do they build this house, what will I need? Number 3, I know in the example of a house, you're not going to build a house on the moon. Well, you can do if that's your dream or that's your belief. But that means you're going to need some land to build this house. Number 3, start to look into how do you purchase a piece of land? Where would you want your house to be? Do some homework. Find out how much is the land. How do you buy the land? Because you believe you're taking actions. And then you find out the way to have this dream house, you must have a plan. So you begin to research and find out, how does one get a plan for a house? Who are the people that draw and make plans? You get all this information together. You begin to prepare, or you begin to find out what it is that you want to achieve. And you write all this in your book. As a matter of fact, before you ever see the house, on paper, you already have the plans and the details of what it is that you're going to need to see this dream become a reality. If you're somebody that says that one day I want to become a transformational speaker, a motivational speaker, I want to become a TV host, whatever it is, you find out what it takes. What do you have to look like? Even find out what company would you want to work for? What TV station would you want to work for? If you say, Winnie, I want to work for CNN, I want to work for NTV, find out, what does it require for somebody to be employed at CNN, to be employed at NTV? And then you come back into your now and you begin to prepare yourself to make sure that when the time comes, you are ready to move into that position that you one day want to become. You come back into now and you start to say no to some things. You say, well, I can't live that kind of a lifestyle. I can't go out partying every day and getting drunk, because I've looked into the future, what I believe, that the woman and man I want to become in the future cannot be drinking right now, cannot be sleeping around right now, cannot afford to watch YouTube music videos all day, but must be educated, must learn. So you begin to read, you begin to learn. That's what I mean by what are you doing right now? So that you will begin to see the things you believe become a reality today or sometime in the future. If you truly believe, then there's some things you must change today in your lifestyle. There's some things you must start to, your speech has got to change. What you say about yourself, if you believe, has got to change. What you say about your children, what you say about Uganda has got to change because you believe. And you begin to work towards where you want to be. I believe that one day I'm going to be one of the most influential Ugandans that ever lived. That's what I believe. And guess what? I am taking actions right now because I believe. There's some things I will not do, not because I don't want to do them. There's some places I will not go to, not because I don't want to go to them and because they won't be fun, but because of what I believe I'm going to be one day. I say no to some things. I say no to some people. I take longer. I read. I research. Because I believe. And so today, ladies, I don't want to make this too long. The question I want us to discuss, I want you to really think about. You say you believe. Now that thing that you believe you're going to do one day, what do you think you need to do right now? I've given you some examples to begin to prepare for that thing. To begin to do, what do you need to say no to right now in order for what you believe to come to pass? What do you need to say yes to right now? What friends do you need to let go of today? What groups do you need to unfollow? What WhatsApp groups do you need to leave now that you know? What social media groups do you need to subscribe to? What books are you going to need to read now? What kind of advice are you going to need to have? What kind of degree or education are you going to have to obtain? I want you to start to think about that. Rather than focus on what you don't have right now, I want you to start to think about where you believe you're going to be one day. And begin to live your life now like you already are where you want to be. As I finish, I remember when I used to work for the HM Treasury in London. I remember my director, the gentleman that was my boss at the time. When I used to work at the Treasury, Her Majesty's Treasury. Now there used to be a kind of a theme. I was there as a personal assistant. And many of the personal assistants at the time would dress a certain way. And the directors and the managing directors would also dress a certain way. They were the ones that were wearing suits and, look really smart. The personal assistants, they were okay. They were smart too, but you could tell there was a difference. That's the director or the managing director, and that was the personal assistant. But what I did is I would dress like one of the managing directors. I would dress like one of the directors. And I remember many times during the break time and lunch time, I was at the Treasury when Gordon Brown was still at the Treasury. And Ed Miliband and all these other guys were still there. And I remember I would go and have lunch and sit at the same tables as them to eat lunch. Because I looked and dressed like them. And one day my boss asked me a question. And as a matter of fact, within the work environment, you will see that all the personal assistants, they would all sit on the same table. I wouldn't sit on the same table and have those similar conversations. But because I dressed like one of the directors and one of the managing directors, I sat with the managing directors. And so one day my boss asked me the question. He said, Winnie, why do you dress the way you dress? He said to me, Winnie, why do you not go and hang out with the other personal assistants? And I responded to him this way. I said, I'm dressing the way I'm dressing because I'm after your job. And he laughed. I said to him, his name was Ray. I said, Ray, I am not dressing for where I am right now. I am dressing for where I want to be tomorrow. And he was so impressed. And he said to me, Winnie, I'm going to help you. And I will sign up for you to do any course that you think you need to do now to help you get to where you want to go. And he's one of the people that is really stands out as key in my life, in my background. And he mentored me, and he helped me, and he taught me so many things. He showed me what to do. And this has been the pattern throughout my life. Every person I have ever worked with, I've always seen myself not where I was as a personal assistant, but I saw myself as the owner of the business. And as I speak right now, I own and run my own business. So this is why I encourage you, my sisters and my brothers, if you're listening. Where you are right now is not the issue. I want you today, that which you believe, to start to take actions. To start to do things that prepare you for where you want to be. Because I believe that Ugandans can. I believe that you can. Question is, do you believe? And if you believe today, then as we comment I want you to start to think about and write it down. If you don't already have a book, you should have a book by now. And write it down. Because ladies and gentlemen, Ugandans can. We can. We will. And the change that we're looking for will come. This is Winnie Chitaka, empowering Ugandan women for the Uganda Youth Collective. Tune in tomorrow as we share yet under a different topic. God bless.